Males of YouTube. What's your creepy girl story? Story 1. She wasn't invited but tagged along with friends who were, and came to my buddy's house for our friend's birthday party. We all got drunk, hopped and pushed people into the pool, and had a good old time. The next morning, my friend, the birthday boy, was awakened by this chick riding on top of him. She either played with his D mildly enough to not wake, but just arouse him, or took advantage of his morning wood. But either way, she sleep-raped my friend on his birthday and proceeded to soak the couch in piss. This was one expensive effing couch, mind you. Before leaving without saying a word. A week or so goes by. She is claiming she is pregnant and needs abortion money. Friend reached out to our friend group for advice. Turns out she has been known to rape drunk guys, and in fact it happened to another friend of ours, whom she also asked for abortion money. 4 years later, she's got 3 DUIs, and nobody knows how many guys she has taken advantage of or scammed out of fake abortion money. Story 2. This was grade 9, and I still shudder thinking about it. She was a sort of parasite that fed off of attention. She was leeching onto a friend of mine, but decided to start sucking the life out of me after I was nice to her, by which I mean I acknowledge her presence. He tried to warn me about her, but I didn't listen. The first day after I met her, I began to experience what it's like to be stalked by her. She was a social vampire, in the way that she would stand behind me until I acknowledged her existence, at which point she would immediately pull a chair up, push my friends out of the way, and would begin talking to me exclusively. If I tried talking to anyone else, she would insert herself into the conversation and try to make it about her again. She also liked horses. A lot. Like, a weird amount. People make jokes about horse girls, but she made the stereotype look like some real pushy sheet. She kept asking me to look at her drawings, and I eventually relented because I was too kind to tell her to F off. I should have. She liked to draw what she called miximals, which were just mixes and matches of animals. Not a bad concept, right? Except all of the animals she mixed had horse parts, and throbbing, gigantic horse erections. The first one she showed me was a horse with 8 spider legs and a giant horse D fully erect. It sat underneath the spider horse like a stinger. When unsure, she regularly pretended to be stabbing her. When I went home, she added me on Facebook on 3 separate accounts, all with different names. On her main, she started talking to me about how she was super wet and about her jay-offing habits, while simultaneously sending me pictures of gore. On the other accounts, she pretended to be other people from school to talk to me about herself and try to see if I was interested in her. I actually didn't realize it was her until a few days in, when I asked a friend why he was being so weird and talking about her so much. And the best part, this was all in a 24-hour period. She did this every day for weeks, and it didn't matter how many times I told her that I effing hated her guts, she wouldn't go. Every day she would try to talk to me, or try to add me on a different account because I blocked her, or she would give me surprise hugs from behind. She only left when she got bored of me and attached herself to someone else. She still scares me. I felt genuinely threatened by her. Story 3. Oh boy. It all started in elementary school, when this weird girl took a liking to me. She'd follow me around at recess, and if I wanted a recess to myself, I'd have to outrun her and lose her. Kept me in shape. She was a year or 2 ahead of me, and as soon as she was able, she'd be a teacher's assistant in my class when she could. She'd be watching me from across the room, and would pass notes to me asking if I'd marry her when I grew up. She also came to my mom's house a few times and left notes on the windowsill. Fast forward to high school, where we landed in the same film arts class. I was usually a cameraman, but when I was in the editing room, there she'd be. She had a face like the man in the moon, round, blank, and gave you the sense that you might look out your window one night and see it looking back at you. She'd be ogling me from across the room, inching her chair closer and closer, and complimenting me on virtually everything. She likes my clothes, jewelry, hair, and eventually, She wants to kiss me and date me. I was an awkward teenager, so I just dropped lots of hints that I wasn't interested, which she either didn't understand or just didn't give a damn. One day, she basically cornered me in a doorway and said she was going to kiss me. I was in such a position that I could only either take the kiss or physically push her away from me. I didn't know how to react at the time, so I pretty much did a combination of both. Another day, I was biking to school, and she was sitting at the base of a telephone pole at the end of my street, looking at me as if she was expecting me to come that way. I thought it through and realized that she must have followed me home from school, then gotten up at the crack of dawn, came back to my street, and waited to see when I'd be leaving. This happened a few times, and I didn't tell anyone because I thought my family would make fun of me. We've both been out of school for a few years, and she hasn't given up yet. She's found me on Facebook and messaged me a few times, saying she's tired of being single, and will I ever date her. I've rejected her as clearly as I can, and I hope it sticks. She definitely has autism or something, and maybe she just can't let go of that childhood crush, or can't process rejection. I hope she gets the help she needs. What was really infuriating was when I went to my family for advice. They were all like, "Aw, she likes you, and you should give her a chance. We need to teach our sons and daughters that stalking people is not okay." Story 4. I was in a bar, having a beer, and this girl started talking to me. She seems oak, but the bar is dark. Hard to tell. She asks me if I want to go out to... Story 6. New Year's a few years ago. At like 4 a.m. a girl called me asking to pick her up because she didn't like who she was with, as in she felt uncomfortable with them. So obviously I walked down to where she was, only a 10-minute walk. I was a little tipsy and she was crazy drunk. I was trying to walk her home, and she insisted on sitting down. And the nearest place was where I was staying, at a friend's. So we get back and sit on the couch, and she immediately starts cuddling me and kissing me, and I try to push her off me, but she's having none of it. Hastily undoes my belt. At this point she has most of her weight on me. Then tries to grab my D, and I push our hand away. She then whispers, "Come on, you know you want me to," and goes for it again. I immediately just shouted, "Stop." I say shout, but it wasn't really a yell and more just a bit louder. She then proceeds to cry, saying I don't find her attractive, and gets really emotional, saying, "Do I think she's fat, etc." I ask if she wants some water, and I go get her some. When I came back, she grabbed a razor blade out of her purse and cut her palm open, and she's shaking. I get a bandage-like thing from the kitchen, and she called a taxi to get her to A&E. I paid for the taxi, and haven't spoken to her since. Needless to say, it took me a while to get comfortable being alone with drunk people. For a while it shook me up more than I'd like. Story 7. Met a girl on Tinder, and I invited her over to my place for a good old trip to Bone City. When she showed up, she began inserting meows into every other sentence, not replacing words with meow, but just mewing randomly in the beginning, middle, or end of sentences. I asked her what she was doing, and she claimed it's just a thing she does unconsciously. Right. Anyway, she keeps mewing and saying just random shit, mixed in some "let me know if you can't handle me." Most guys can't. It was only about 15 minutes in, and I just needed to get away, so I mentioned having to take my dog out. "Oh, I'll come with you." Damn it. No sooner than we opened the door to let my pup out does she rock me with this horrifyingly awkward question. "So my feet smell pretty bad. What is something you're insecure about?" I'm dumbstruck. I started stuttering in half sentences. What the few why would just wow. She comes back with, "Well, don't make me feel bad." And again. Story 8. Oh, my first blind date, set up by friends. I was 22. I can't remember if I had just graduated or was about to. So either late 21 or just turned 22. I picked her up because she doesn't drive. I found out she's a sophomore in college, my alma mater. Cool. I was surprised I'd never seen her before because it wasn't a large uni, and she was cute as hell. Fast forward maybe 2 or 3 hours. We just wrapped up dinner and a stroll in a park downtown. Everything went well, and we're walking to a comedy club. She is saying things really weird now, like how happy she is that she met someone like me, about the places she wants to honeymoon at, how many kids we'd have, and how beautiful they'd be if we were married. Now she was a looker, and really fun to hang out with, but who talks about these kinds of things after knowing a person for several hours? Red flags. Cut later into the evening, and we're walking to the house I shared with a few roommates. Our place was maybe a block from the comedy club, college neighborhood. She stops me, and we make out for a bit. She is for real, acting and talking like we have been long-time lovers now. I make the decision to suggest I take her home. It's getting late, but she insists on coming home with me. I pocket dial my friend. Oh, I'm getting a call. I play it like he needs me for something. He's all high, giggling and saying stupid shit as he realizes what must be happening. Now it has turned for the worse in a big way. She gets angry, accusing me of being gay and how she never should have come on this date, etc., so she storms off. Woo. 15 minutes later, I am in my house laughing and chatting with my roommates about my date, and the back door opens. Guess who walks in? I knew it. She screams. Cue me trying to calm down this crazy girl while my friends are laughing and taking pictures.